back. So guys, before we go ahead and I introduce our first speaker, I would like to test the vibe of the room. Let us know in the chat box, where are you in the application process? Have you applied to grad school? Are you waiting for admission? Have you been rejected? Are you waiting for visa? Do you already have your visa? Let us know so that we know what kind of information can be relevant to you guys. So I'm waiting to see some answers. And while I'm waiting to see some answers, I think I'll just introduce myself. My name is Faye Peter. Everybody calls me Faye, and I'm a current Master's of Social Work student in the US in Illinois State University. And today I'll be moderating this conversation. So I want you guys to know that all the people who will be speaking today they're all students, people who have gone through this process, who have, been applied, been rejected, done GRE, done IELTS, done visa process. They've done all kinds of things, and they're all in the US today. So we'll be sharing their experiences with you guys. I also want you to know that their experiences are personal, because you might have heard some things or some myths somewhere from academic Twitter or other places. They are going to be sharing their own experience with you. So let's not go with that mindset of this is the only way. They are going to share how they got to where they are, and then you can learn some lessons from it. Great. So before our first speaker joins in, we're right on time, which is really good. I want to see more responses. Where are you in the application process? Somebody said never applied. Okay, I've not started. Great. Sending cold emails. I've been rejected. Applied to 3 schools, are waiting admissions. Rejected, waiting for admission. Applied, previously rejected, I've not applied. Okay, great. So it looks like a lot of people who are here are starting off fresh in this process, which is amazing, because all the things that we'll be talking about today will be very, very, very relevant to you. So that's good. Bola, can you confirm that our first speaker, Nate, is here?
Daniel, I think that is supposed to be our first speaker, right?
Yes, I can see Daniel here. Daniel, can you confirm if our first is Daniel our first speaker? I thought it was not. Sorry. I can still see more people sending, preparing for GRE, submitted to applications, rejections, and so on. Great. So you're going to learn a lot from all of us who are scholars here, who have gone through this process, and we'll be sharing with you what we have done, what was useful, what was not useful. Is Daniel here?
Yeah, listen. Daniel is here, yeah, sure. Daniel is here, I can see.
Okay, yes. Daniel, can you please speak up so we know you're here?
Oh, I don't think Daniel is the first speaker.
He's not. Nate is the first speaker, which is why I want to know if Nate is here.
Yeah, Nate is joining now. Yep.
Okay, great. So while we're waiting for our first speaker to join in, I also want to know, thank you all of you to those who have responded. I also want to know, where are you joining us from? Please keep yourself muted. Dauda, please keep your Bola, please make me co-host so I can mute people.
Now.
No, I changed my phone.
Okay.
Dauda, please mute yourself. Let us know in the chat box too, where are you signing in from? Lagos, Nigeria, Bayelsa, United States of Nigeria. I like that one. Lagos, Nigeria. Dauda is still on. Bola, please mute this person. Oh. Dauda Ismailia, please, can you mute yourself? Thank you. Akwa Ibom, Kaduna, Delta, Lagos, nice. Kebbi State, Kaduna, Ogbomoso, Lagos, Abuja, Port Harcourt, amazing. So the great thing, guys, is that all of us too are from all around Nigeria. So we're not like some, superstar aliens that have never gone through this process. We've all come from Nigeria. Most of us are in our first year or second year. So we can relate to you a lot. So I want you guys to make sure that throughout the process of today's meeting, you are engaging in all that we're saying. If a speaker says something that resonates with you, please ginger them in the chat box, because it takes a lot to gather people for this kind of event. Okay.
So our speaker is around. Yeah, our speaker is around. So that's Nathaniel.
All right. Yeah, so Nathaniel, you actually have 3 extra minutes, which is great. I'm going to pass the microphone over to you, Nathaniel, to go ahead and start your session. How are you? I can't see your video yet. Nathaniel, please unmute yourself and turn on your video and we can get started. So once again, I'll really like if we keep ourselves muted unless you're speaking. And secondly, remember that these are a group of scholars. Everyone's experience is personal. So if you've heard something contrary, you can ask them, you can bring it up, but know that this is their own journey, their own experience, okay? Nathaniel, is he here?
Yeah, he's there.
I can't see him yet. Nathaniel, please say hello if you're here and unmute yourself and turn on your microphone and you can get started. Nathaniel, we're going to get started. We're right. Thank you, Bola. We're right on time. So our first speaker for today is Nathaniel. Remember, please give him ginger in the comment section as he goes on, and also please stay muted. Thank you so much. Nathaniel, you have the floor. And please, you know now, time. Okay, go ahead.
All right, thank you so much. Hello, I think someone is talking.
Don't worry,
okay, hello everyone. Okay, hello everyone. It's really my pleasure to be among you all. I am Nathaniel Dube-Magbindi. I'm a PhD student at the University of South Florida. And I think I'm working on, I'm a PhD student in chemistry, and my research interest is on vaccine development against Clostridial difficile. So I think that's a little about me. I think if you want to know more about me, it will be more in the question section. So I'd just like to present something very little to the topic I was asked to present today. So let's see. Can everyone see my screen?
Yes, yeah, sure, we can.
All right, very well. So I was given an opportunity to talk to you guys on this today, recognizing your options. So let's keep this here so I can see very well. So recognizing your options, and then the sub-theme is going to be on selecting the right schools for maximum admissions. So by way of introduction, basically what I'll do here is I'll do just something that is more like as primarily to what you all have already known. Then I'll try to link all this I've written to my personal experiences. And then I think my session will be really short so that it will be more like an interactive session whereby based on what I'm going to discuss in a short period of time, you guys can ask questions and then we'll have more like an interactive session before my session comes to an end. Okay, so first and foremost, we have recognizing your options and then selecting the right schools for maximum admissions. Okay, so choosing a school. It's very important that when you want to choose a school, you need to know the types of schools you have. So typically in the United States, there are like 13 schools, 13 types of schools. But of emphasis, I will just talk about very few of the schools, particularly that we have private schools, we have public schools, we have others. So others are among the other 12 that I didn't mention. And then the one I like to put as type of school that is now among the schools in the United States is the safe schools. This is very important, and this is what I will be dwelling most on for this session. But for now, I just want us to have the preliminary of this, that we have 13 types of schools in the United States. We have the public, the private, we have others. And then I added this just for emphasis sake, we have safe schools. So emphasis on universities, because when you talk about schools, you have universities, you have colleges, you have, there are different kinds of institutions in the United States. So my emphasis will be on university. I'm so sorry, I don't know if others will be going to colleges as well, but I try to restrict my my talk on universities. But as questions come, I would try to answer them. So emphasis on universities, we have public, private, research, and Ivy League. So just to make more clarity about what these universities are. So we have public universities. So these universities are universities that are state funded. So when we say state funded, they could be funded by the state or funded by the federal government. And they vary in sizes comparably to private universities, which are typically small. But public universities are usually large, and then they have a very huge amount of funding. And then they are characterized by lower tuition costs. You see the tuitions are typically not high compared to private institutions in the United States. This is just an overlook of what I want you guys to have an understanding about. Then we have where is this pointer not working? So we have the private schools, which are not state funded. They basically rely on tuition, they rely on endowments, and they rely on donations. So that's how they run the school. So these private universities can be divided into two. You have the non-profit and then the profit-making institutions. So, but basically they rely on donations, endowment, and tuition, and it is characterized by very high tuition costs. That's why you see most of the universities that are private universities, their tuition are really high. So they usually use the tuition to build the university. So that is really important to know. The next up is research universities. So research universities can be the both, either private or public. And then most times they're either public, non-profit, because having a research institution, if you're going for profit, then I don't think most people want to really go to those institutions because they'll be extremely, very expensive. And then how are those research universities categorized? They're categorized or characterized based on doctorate degree awarding institution, whereas once an institution can produce students with doctoral degree, it shows that they have the capacity to teach, the capacity to do research, and then they have all the facilities and the services needed for them to undergo any kind of research they do. So typically there are about 131 of these research universities in the United States, and they can be categorized into three: the R1, which are very high research activity. They do enormous research activity, cut across sciences, technology, engineering, and all other fields. It could be social sciences as well. And then the R2 universities are the ones with high research activity. So there's a huge difference between both of them. Like the name implies, when something is very high, you know the level to which their research can be. And when something is high, it's not as much as those that are very, very high. Then you have the specialized university that also do research, but they are also known as the doctoral professional universities. For example, where you have institutions where you can have a doctorate degree in public health. So you don't call that a PhD, you call that a doctor of public health, or you have a doctor of public administration, DPA, or DRPH. So all these are professional doctoral degrees, and they fall under the D/PU universities, but they're also research institutions. So these very important universities, I had to include it because I want to talk about them in regards to some of the topic I had to talk about. So we have the Ivy League universities, very, very important. So these universities, they are categorized. So in the Asian world, you have, when you talk about the very wealthy people, they go to these universities, and they are ranked based on their social elitism, admission selectivity, their academic excellence, and sport. Predominantly, they rank them based on sports and social elitism. And then they consist of 8 Northeastern United States-based universities. So I just included a few of them, in case any of you want to really apply to the schools. But like I said, these schools are called Ivy League because they have a particular standard they have set. And for you to get into these universities, you have to meet those criteria, which most times it is not as easy as we think. It's not difficult, but it's not also easy. So I just wanted to highlight this. Okay, next is steps to selecting a school. This is where the meat of the matter is. So these are the steps I put together just to explain to you guys and then relate with the steps with my own personal experiences. First and foremost, I can't emphasize on this enough than to tell you that if you really want to apply for any graduate school or when you want to apply for any school, the first thing you need to know is you need to know yourself. When I mean you need to know yourself, you need to ask yourself what you need. How is this important to you? Like what, at the end of the day, what do you hope to get out of this? If things don't go north and they decide to go south, east, or west, how can you, how's your comeback? How's your resilience like? What fascinates your learning style? So learning style can be the environment, could be, some persons talk about the faculty-student relationship. Some people talk about the weather conditions. Lot of people talk about different things that fascinates them. It could be a geographical location. It could be a lifestyle. So if you're this kind of person that you're more like an outing person, you should be looking at states or regions whereby you can get that kind of lifestyle. So that because this kind of lifestyle, it influences your person. It influences you. Should in case things become so hard, you can use this kind of lifestyles to come back. For instance, we know so well about Nigeria. Nigeria is one of the countries that know how to have crews with everything. So we always use this cruise, this catching of crews to do what? To bring back our mental status back to life, like not take us go out of the way, but bring us back to make us understand that no matter how things are difficult, we just catch crews to make sure that we have everything. We have everything in check, you understand, very important. So knowing yourself is one important thing I cannot emphasize less. You need to know yourself and then you need to prepare. Preparation is very, very key. Then once you know yourself and you have known that, yes, this is the time for you to apply. So most times, I just want to point this out, most times it looks as though we want to really do this stuff, but we just do it and then we have that, the passion about it. But when you get to the United States, everything changes. So sometimes knowing yourself is one of the key things you need to do as a person. Then not to waste lots of our times, you need to gather information about the school. You need to know about the curriculum. You need to know about the requirements. Very, very important. You need to know about academic performances. Now, academic performances is a two-way thing. Academic performance in terms of your performance and in terms of the school's performance. Very, very important. Then you need to know what kind of research you want to do, what interests you. What is that thing that if you keep going? So some people prefer, let me use this instance, some people prefer eating rice. So no matter how you give them rice morning, afternoon, evening, they'll still eat it. So that interest should be there. What is that particular research interest that you have? It might not align with what you have in the United States, but it has some kind of drives that leads you, like it reminds you of one or two things you're doing that you feel fascinated you. That is very important. Then you need to look at universities that have diversity and inclusion. Very, very important. For me, while I was choosing universities, I looked at weather conditions was one of the paramount things I looked at. First, I didn't look at money. Money was not my thing. The thing I was looking at how diverse is the institution, how acceptable a Black person like me can school there without having issues, how safe is the school, what are the special offerings the school has. So special offerings could come, what are the extracurricular activities they do? Do they have opportunities where students can go for internship in different places? Do they have opportunities whereby you have this free interactions with anybody and then you can get access to anything you want to? So these things were really, really paramount for me why making a selection for schools. Then the other thing I want to capitalize is on you need to act. Sometimes we see some of these things and then we don't act on them. So you need to attend school fairs. School fairs are really important. They will show you around, show you how their universities are, what the program, how they are structured. And another thing is have mentors. Have mentors, send cold email. How do you send cold email if you don't have mentors? So if you draft any email, you need to send to your mentors to look at it and then give you their feedback on what they think about what you've written. These things are very important. And when sending cold emails, you make inquiries. And you can make inquiries mainly through graduate coordinators. You can even make inquiries through current students, which is very, very good, and even the school's website. Sometimes the school websites are not updated, but when you make contact with the graduate coordinators or with the current students, you're able to know like the current thing that's happening in that department, and you tend to understand, like, have a better picture of what you're expecting to get there. It's good to draft your SOP, get recommendation letters, and last but not the least, always ask questions. I'm stressing on this because you have a session that will talk about most of those things I've listed. Okay. So having had that, one question, I'll just give you guys like 30 seconds. So I'm supposed to talk about the myth of ranking, and then looking at this picture, what do you guys think? So keep your, think about it. Let's hear. I just need to get 1 or 2%. What do you think about this? Anybody from the audience?
So if you want to talk, you can just unmute yourself and talk. Unmute yourself when you're done.
Anyone?
Okay, good evening.
Yes, good evening.
Good evening. Most federal universities, they are R1.
Mm-hmm.
While most state universities are R2.
Oh, I see. Okay. All right, so thank you so much. So
okay,
this is just...
I have a suggestion.
Okay, I can listen.
I have something to say.
Okay.
Okay, so from what I'm seeing here, universities that are more than the other ones, so I don't know.
Okay, so let me not waste most of your time. So all this was just to illustrate what we'll talk about, the myth of ranking, and was that. So basically what I wanted you all to know is this. All this about the myth of ranking. Oh, this school is better than this school, this is better than this school. All this you see here, you'll see a comment that will come for it later. But what I want to tell you that anything about ranking, about what school you want to go, it is relative. And this is relative based on the choices and other factors which are special and peculiar to each and every one of you. So it doesn't matter where you want to go. So long as you have these things, you know yourself, you get information about the school and you act on them, all this will influence your decision, and then will tell you whatever school you want to go, regardless of whatever ranking that has them. So invariably, I wanted to tell us that there is a disclaimer. The data used here is for ranking are just hypothetical and is only used for illustrations. So when you see it, you think that, oh, research institutions are like higher or better compared to the rest of them, but it doesn't matter at all. What I was trying to portray here was just to give us this sense of understanding that whatever university you go to, it is okay so long as you get that in which you have an interest in. And once you get it, you're good to go. That's just what this slide was trying to talk about. Now, perusing schools' websites to get information, very, very important. I had to just put these pictures here just to give us the different college footballs you have in the United States. So if you check it very well, you could see that this is a map of the United States. As you can see how this logos of the universities are, of this university college football, it shows how uniquely these universities are and how uniquely you can get their information. So it's very important that you go through and you peruse schools' websites to get information. And once you get them, there might be some that might not be applicable to you. There might be some that be applicable to you based on your academic performance or whatever you want to do. Very, very important. So this is just some of the link of some of the information. So while I was searching for schools, some of them that I used to get some of the to get some of the schools I applied to. And social media, someone will talk about that. And then your pair, very important. You need to have personal relations with people. So now just to round up, because I have just a minute left, just to round up, for me, my personal experience, why I use the safe school is that for me, Florida was a safe state for me, looking at the fact that they have very low tuition. And then, they have very low application fee, and then the acceptance rate was good. Their diversity was on point. The weather condition is similar to that of Nigeria, which I didn't take for granted. And for lifestyle, I love the fact that I had to go to beach anytime. I am so much engrossed with lots of things. So these things were things I had into perspective, and then I chose Florida. So the good thing is when you're choosing schools, I just want you to note this. First and foremost, you should have your target schools. If you want to apply to Ivy League schools, it's fine, but have your target schools, have your safe schools, which are schools that at the end of the day, even if your target schools don't take you, your safe schools can take you and you get over to the United States. So in a nutshell, that is just what I wanted to bring to us. And then I'll be happy to share more of my experiences with you in the question and answer sessions. So that's me. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Nathaniel. That's been amazing. Thank you, guys. Thank you, Nathaniel. So we're going to move straight into our next speaker because we're trying to stay right on time. And Nathaniel, please stick around for the question and answer times to see what else you can contribute